Thank you. Welcome to the June 28th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting for the City of Malden. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Deerhog, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Commissioner Sofield?
Present.
Commissioner Locklear?
Present.
Commissioner Eskridge?
Present.
Commissioner Green?
Present.
Commissioner Bixler?
Present.
And our chairman, Commissioner Paulson.
Present.
And I'll note we welcome Commissioner Locklear and Commissioner Bixler tonight. This is their first meeting as members of our planning commission. So we're really glad to have them.
Thank you for coming. Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight's meeting will be held to consider only the items on the agenda. And these items include approval of the minutes from the May 2022 Planning Commission meeting and a preliminary plat review for Hawk Haven subdivision. Are any members of the public here tonight in attendance? Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'll let you know that we cannot discuss any items not on the stated agenda, but you're welcome to come talk to one of us after the meeting or talk to one of the staff during normal business hours. We're going to keep this meeting going efficiently and professionally. No outbursts and phone on vibrate. So I'm going to begin with a review and approval of the minutes from the May 2022 Planning Commission meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion for approval.
I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Green and a motion and a seconded by Commissioner Eskridge. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none, I'd like to go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It appears to be unanimous. Thank you. The next item on the agenda tonight is the preliminary plat review for Hawk Haven subdivision. We're going to begin with an introduction of this item from staff. After that, I'll ask any members of the commission if they need to disclose any conflicts of interest or ex parte communication regarding this item. After this, the applicant will be given the opportunity to comment on their application if needed. Following the applicant's comments, we'll open the floor to public comment. Members of the public who wish to comment will be granted up to 3 minutes to speak, and you're only allowed to speak once. You cannot concede time to other speakers, and you don't have to repeat what someone else has already said. And please refrain from outbursts while people are talking. After that, we'll close the floor for public comment and provide the applicant an opportunity to provide any final comments if needed. After this, we'll get a recommendation from staff. Mr. Deerhog, will you please introduce this item?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. This application is for preliminary approval of the plat for the Hawk Haven subdivision. It's located on Rose Circle. It's shown in the bright yellow that's on the map in the presentation right now. It's right behind the back of the West Butler Road storage, self-service storage facility. The applicant's proposing to develop and subdivide this tract as a cluster development entailing 29 detached single-family homes on this 11.5 acre tract. This represents a density of 2.5 units per acre. This property or this tract was annexed by the City of Malden earlier this year in March. The property currently has a zoning designation of R12, which is a low-density residential district. The tract is currently occupied by a single-family residence. That concludes my introduction for this project. I'll be glad to get more into the staff review of this after we conclude the public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Let me ask the commissioners, does anyone have a conflict of interest or ex parte communication to disclose regarding this item?
I do. I'd like to, unrelated to this project, I did on an unrelated closing. Meet with Stephen Holdings LLC.
Did you discuss anything regarding this project? Well, I think that's okay. As long it's a small town, everybody knows somebody, right? But as long as you didn't discuss this item, I think we're okay. Please stop me, David, if I'm wrong about that. Very good. Does the applicant wish to add any comments at this time?
Good evening. My name is Austin Allen. I'm with Arbor Land Design, 49 Greenland Drive, Greenville, representative of the engineer, civil designer of this project. My role in this was more on the front end from planning. That's more of my expertise. We got a set of comments from staff a couple weeks ago. All of those comments were addressed and responded to. We feel like we're where we need to be in terms of zoning, land development regulations, and any other requirements that we may fall under at this stage. This is a pretty straightforward project. I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to public comments regarding this item. If you would like to share a comment, please approach the lectern and give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes to share your comment. Any comment? Hearing none, I'll close the floor to public comment now. Do any members of the commission have any questions for the applicant? Hearing none. Mr. Deerhog, will you please provide the recommendation of staff?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm first going to remind you that, especially since we have a couple of new members of the Planning Commission tonight, that the Planning Commission's role in reviewing this type of application is to consider, number one, the recommendation of the Subdivision Advisory Committee from Greenville County, which was provided to you in your packets, the recommendation of city staff, and if the minimum requirements have been met. First of all, I'll touch on the comprehensive plan. Malden's comprehensive plan anticipates and designates that the area that encompasses this tract would be developed for medium density residential, envisioning small lot, single family homes, patio homes, and townhouses. I mentioned earlier that this is zoned R12, which is more of a low density residential district that provides for single family housing types. This application in particular is for cluster housing development, which means that they're single family homes, they're detached, but they are clustered together in exchange for preserving extra open space. Right now, the R12 cluster development standards allow for up to 3.6 units per acre. On this project, they are developing 2.5 units per acre. The required amount of open space is 30%, and what they are providing is 35% open space. The builder for this project will be New Style Communities, and they plan to construct an age-targeted community for adults ages 55 and up. The homes are going to feature all brick construction. They will be maintenance free. The maintenance of the homes in the community will be paid for through the HOA. The homes in this project are projected to start at $450,000 and up. The surrounding uses around this are primarily rural homes. There are some apartments down the road, the self-service storage facility in front of it. The values that are associated with this project are going to be considerably higher than the surrounding area. There will be a 25-foot building setback that will be maintained along the entire perimeter of the project. The development will entail tree preservation on about 2.9 acres, primarily along the stream that's along the back of the project, but also some along the sides of the project. There is a very small wetland area at the back of the property, but that wetland area will not be disturbed. There's also a stream along the back of the property, and the applicant's proposing to maintain a buffer of approximately 80 feet along that stream, which is more than what we require. The development will include one entrance along Rose Circle. They will provide sidewalks along one side of all the internal streets and also along Rose Circle in front of the project. The project does not meet the peak hour traffic thresholds that would require a traffic impact study. So there's no traffic impact study required for this project. The development project is located along Rose Circle, has access to a traffic signal at West Butler Road via Plant Street. Both Rose Circle and Plant Street are currently Greenville County maintained roads. And I had a meeting with the county traffic engineer at the very beginning of last week, just to discuss what their requirements would be. They are not going to require the applicant to widen the roads, but they are requiring a 25-foot right-of-way dedication in front of the project. And then as far as the amenities goes, and for those who were at the last meeting when we talked about Riley Trace, we mentioned that this project will share amenities with Riley Trace and also another project that will be adjacent to this on what's been called the Planters Crossing property. I'm sure that name will change as we go on. The amenities will be located on the edge of that Planters Crossing property. This project, Hawk Haven, will include a parking area adjacent to the amenity area. So you can see the parking area. It's on the left side of the drawing that's on the presentation right now. That's going to be immediately adjacent to the amenities that they are planning to construct. There will also be a footbridge installed at the back to provide pedestrian access to the amenities for the Riley Trace residents that are located along Fowler Circle. As far as the Greenville County Subdivision Advisory Committee comments, they, for the most part, entailed typical comments that we see from the various agencies that participate on that committee. Greenville Water has indicated that the water is available. REWA has approved the preliminary sewer capacity request. There's one correction I want to note for the applicant, and that is that the city of Malden will be the sewer provider for this, not Metro. And SEOD recommended that when the Planters Crossing property is submitted for development, that it might be something to take a look at if we'll need a traffic impact study at that point in time, but we'll just have to wait and see how many units will be included in that. The city staff has reviewed this preliminary plat for compliance with the City of Malden's land development regulations and the zoning ordinance. We found that the proposal meets or exceeds all the minimum standards. In addition, it's less dense than what is provided in the comprehensive plan, which is actually probably a better fit for the roads that are in front of this project. Staff recommends that any approval of this preliminary plat would include the following conditions, and I have 4 listed here. Number 1, that the applicant will satisfy all the conditions provided by the Greenville County Subdivision Advisory Committee. Number 2, that the civil engineering and landscape plans, as they continue to develop those plans, will meet all the standards and the codes and ordinances for the City of Malden. Number 2, that there will be no disturbance of any wetlands without an appropriate permit. And number 4, that the applicant will provide will maintain the 25-foot building setback from the right-of-way line along Rose Circle, if in fact that does shift to provide the additional right-of-way that the county has requested. And that concludes the report for staff.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have any questions for staff?
So this one has not been submitted yet, but it's labeled on this map. You'll see just to the left of the Hawk Haven project shown in yellow, you'll see Planters Crossing labeled there. So they will share access and tie into Hawk Haven. When you look at the Hawk Haven layout, there's a street that stubs right by in front of the parking lot. That will continue into what they'll design for that Planters Crossing property. I think what they are doing right now is calling that Hawk Haven Phase 2. So that will be an additional phase that they'll be submitting in the future for your review. Through this subdivision. Yeah, potentially. They may have an emergency access entrance, but the main entrance will be through this subdivision. That was a point of discussion actually last week when we talked with the county traffic engineer. You'll see that on this map that Plant Street actually continues back, and there's what's called a Plant Street extension, or no, that's next. Well, Plant Street just extends back a little bit further, and it's a small little cul-de-sac that terminates here where the hand figure is. And in our conversation with the county traffic engineer, we both agreed that there's a couple of residents along that road, and they would probably not like to see an additional subdivision entrance on their road. So we've encouraged the applicant not to provide any access there except for what might be used by an emergency vehicle if needed.
Was this one the one, correct me if I'm wrong, was this one the one that we were talking about access through off of Fowler Circle also?
So you can see Riley Trace at the bottom right there of this map. That's the one we reviewed last month. And that question had come up. And the answer was that there will be no vehicular access between Hawk Haven and Riley Trace. There's a stream there. All they'll do is they'll put a footbridge so that the residents in Riley Trace can walk across the stream and walk to the amenities.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Additional questions for staff? Hearing none. Do I hear a motion regarding this item?
Mr. Chairman, I see no reason. I make the motion that we approve, the docket. Get the right number here. PC-2022-08-PP with the staff recommendations.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Estridge to approve the preliminary plat with the conditions stated by staff. Those are 4 conditions. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
I have a second from Commissioner Sofield. Any last discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It appears to be unanimous. So that concludes that item. Any additional business tonight?
No additional business, but I do just want to give you a preview for next month. We will have 2 rezoning applications to review for next month. So you can anticipate that when about a week and a half to 2 weeks. And before that meeting, I'll send you the information for that. And then normally in our July meeting, we would consider if we want to make any changes to the rules of procedure, as well as elect officers, but I was going to suggest that maybe we push that off for a month or so. Two reasons, just to give our new members some time to acclimate to the commission to determine if they do have any recommendations to change. They would like to recommend change for the rules of procedure, and also to give us time to fill one more vacant seat. So Mr. Paglialunga contacted me and let me know he's not able to meet the commitment moving forward for the Planning Commission. And so we're going to work on filling his seat as well, but that will maybe give us some time to fill that seat. So if there's no objection, we'll just kick those down the road a month or two, but we will meet for rezonings next month.
Can I ask a question pertaining to that?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is Jonathan, you're not rotating off, are you?
Haven't for a while, no.
No, he's not.
We,
A problem or any rule that we have to elect new officers, or would it be appropriate to suggest that we remain the same? And I have no problem with waiting until you have a full commission here, but I'd just like to ask that question.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. But we have lost our vice chairman, so we will definitely need someone for that. So if you're suggesting we include that still for next month, I'm glad to. Is that your recommendation?
I'd be happy to, if you don't have a problem with that.
no, not at all. I figure it's going to be a long meeting. But that's fine. That's no problem at all. Also, Randy, while you were not on the commission, we a lot of the old term limits we voted them down, I think.
Yeah, the
So
city council changed that.
yeah, so there aren't the same term limits you're familiar with. So, but you know, it's always nice to rotate in fresh ideas if needed. But yeah, we do have a lot of new members, so I think it's probably a good idea if we give them a little while to settle in. So I agree with David on that one.
But just on my short tenure back on the Planning Commission, I'd like to commend Jonathan. I think he's done a great job.
Thank you.
I agree with you. He's doing great.
Guys.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. So just so I'm clear, we are going to review it next time? We're not going to push it off, or we are? I was thinking we'd push it off.
I don't know. Our new members have any requests on that? Do you want a little more time before we dive into that, or?
We're fine with,
I'm fine with you waiting. That's fine.
yeah, let's give it a couple
Give
extra
a little more time so they
Yeah.
can just kind of get the lay of the land a little better.
And also if we do get another commissioner appointed, so maybe September, October, or something like that, something.
We'll pick it up when we're ready.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Good meeting, John. Good meeting.